Hey guys, we're here for Orange is the New Black, Season 4, Episode 7, It Sounded Nicer in My Head, and Episode 8, Friends in Low Places.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The animal. Trap, 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 till the cage is full. The cage is full. Today is you. And everyone's waiting on you. And you've got time.
I didn't do it this weekend.
You won.
Right.
I was going to say, to be fair, we end when the note actually ends.
Just keep going. We'll see how long it lasts. Don't try to make excuses for the fact that I won. Okay?
Yeah, you did win that one.
You did.
But we are here covering Episode 7, Episode 8 already. We have a special guest.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's start with our special guest and welcome her. Hello, Miss Jolene.
Hi. Thank you so much for being
Yes.
here.
So excited to be here.
Because you had some great stuff in these episodes here.
Yeah, these are some interesting episodes. Little challenging.
Very, very exciting.
I'm sure.
for
Perfect week for you to be here to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. Coming all the way from New York, you're tired. We get it. So thank you for being here. Before we get back to everything, I will introduce myself. I am Scott Moore. You can find me on Twitter at sman80. That's sman80. And the lovely ladies to my left.
Hi, I'm Kanika Lal. Follow me on Twitter at Kanika Lal.
Hey guys, I'm Sterling. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SterlingKates.
Hey everybody, I'm April Whisenhant. You can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
All right, so let's kick off this episode. Initial thoughts for everybody here.
For 7?
Yes, for 7.
Lolly, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm
to
so happy we got
finally
a backstory.
realize what's going on with her,
Lolly is beautiful, by the way. I mean, you see, obviously, like, Orange is the New Black is a show where they kind of, obviously dress down the characters a bit. So seeing her in her prison uniform, she's a cute girl, but then seeing her in, like, her street clothes, you're hot.
Oh, you mean like later in life?
Yeah,
the
like
first
the flashback
actress,
and everything.
The first actress wasn't her.
Yeah.
Right, which I thought
But
was great, by
later
the way.
it was.
Great
Right.
That's
casting.
why I thought it was
Yeah.
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
she looks so good.
And the voice was
Yes,
spot on.
the
was spot on.
mannerisms.
Spot on. I was confused as to if that was Lori Petty in a wig
Fantastic.
or
Yeah.
if it was the different. It was just
So
great casting on that part.
Fantastic, yes. So, any initial thoughts you have? And just by the way, we only have made it through episode 8, so
Yes.
don't give anything away to
No,
us.
no,
Please,
no.
please, please.
Lori Petty's my girl crush, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
I love her.
I'm out and
She's
proud
amazing.
with that. She's my
Yes.
girl crush.
A League of Their Own is
fantastic.
also one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Yes,
So when
it
she
is.
first
Yes.
appeared on this show, I had a major fangirl moment for a second. I was like,
Yeah, I know.
you're here! You're crazy!
Super crazy.
You kind of were crazy in that movie too. That's cool.
I loved seeing though because we've known that she's going through some like mental health issues for a while now, but I loved getting she might be one of my favorite backgrounds so far.
Right.
Because I loved seeing like the realness of this and that they weren't
Right.
I loved how they did like the voices that we could hear
Yes.
too.
Right.
And it just, it's something that television shows don't often
Right.
discuss in such a real way, so I really appreciated that. But it was, I don't know, I just loved everything about that.
We really got in her head. We got to really empathize.
Yeah,
and
we
I
really
think,
got in her head.
I
Literally
think
got in her head.
reporting
Literally.
in journalism was probably the best profession she had to have for someone who has to think
Right.
of conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
I keep saying to myself, she reminds me of me. Like, honestly. Like, I say that a lot this whole
We hear
episode.
voices?
I can get a little crazy, and I think we all can always kind of
Yeah.
hear our conscience. Someone saying, do this, do that. So I think
Yeah.
obviously she's an extreme, but
Right.
I think I relate to her in some way.
I just
Yeah.
love
I
how
think
they-
there are conspiracy theories out there. So, Lolly,
True.
Lori,
Hit me up,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
we can talk about that.
I just love how they connected her storyline to Healy's because it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
brings him back and like makes me like him a little more to
Right.
see him relate to her the way he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, we'll talk about it later, but that scene
Yes.
with them
Oh,
is
I love
just
that.
that was
Episode
just
8
everything. Yeah.
was great. Yes, and I just love when we open up, in the intro with your character basically having that whole scene with Piper,
Yeah.
And basically, like, I wish there was that Hawaiian power group for me.
Right? In the bathroom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At
That
the very-
was so interesting
Yeah.
to shoot too, because there's like so many people, like you're cramming into stalls trying to come in and out, and
So, what's it like in that set?
Right.
And that's like, are you guys like describe what it's like
the
filming
bathrooms
scenes like that?
are really dirty. Like they're really dirty. Like it's
it
not
looks it.
play dirty. I mean, there's no like doo-doos and things, but like it's dirty. It's small. It seems much bigger than
Yeah.
it actually is. So you have someone with a boom, you have the camera operators, like the mirrors pull out, but you still have a lot of background, especially because there's overcrowding. That's kind of a thing right now. So you have background and other actors coming in and out and cameras and just wires everywhere. It's crazy to try and get the ography right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can imagine this.
And your character's name is Hapakuka.
I heard you guys.
Is it Hapakuka?
Hapakuka, yeah. Yeah.
I heard they sing like "Happy Birthday" in the name because like they used to make fun of Soso's name and now they make fun of your name.
Yeah, so they sing Hapakuka to you, Hapakuka to you. Yeah,
That's
it was
extremely helpful.
their way of like trying to get my name because
Right.
they would call me Hakapuda, like
No.
all kinds
Hakuna
of weird.
Matata.
Yeah,
Hakuna Matata,
that was one
yes.
of them too. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny.
so many things.
Yeah, so I mean that was just a great intro to this whole episode. But it was funny because I was waiting for that moment. I kept thinking, I know there's gonna be a moment when your character, because we've kind of seen this whole build up with your character throughout the season from when you first met Piper, and we're just kind of waiting around like when is this break gonna happen? And we finally got it in this episode, which was incredible.
Right.
What are you talking about? Nothing happened.
But I mean, in that first scene with Piper.
That's what I'm saying, like from the very beginning.
Right. And in 7, when Piper's like, well, I'm not feeding you to
Yes,
the wolves. I'm
exactly.
just letting you go to them and I can't help you.
And
I
I
was
can't
like,
help you. I was like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be enough to turn anyone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
do what you got to do. That's
Yeah.
what Piper said.
Exactly. That was the perfect setup because then we knew something was going
She was
down.
gonna break.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no way you can tolerate that.
You know, the funny thing is we shot the other scene first, so like the giving her up kind of thing
Yeah.
Oh,
first.
interesting.
And I didn't actually get the scene in the bathroom until the day that I got there.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't even know that when it turns around
Yeah.
and I say pretty much what she says to me back to her, like, sorry about it, but I'm rooting for you.
Right.
I didn't know that I'm paraphrasing what she told me. So then I was like,
Interesting.
oh man, I missed out. But
No, you delivered that line
Yeah.
perfectly.
You
though, as if
did.
You did know. So
Oh.
Right.
it was great. Everyone, I have up the live chat so people are watching live with us, and they're like, the guest star, she's my favorite this season. Great guest. So everyone's loving her.
That's nice to hear.
I love that your character is the catalyst. I don't know how y'all feel about this, but it's
Right.
the catalyst to like start making me like Piper again. 'Cause
Yeah.
and they're writing it this way to where she's not the most lovable character currently. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you really gonna be a part of this group that's like basically, even if she's not acting that way, like they're literally like white
Right.
power.
Yes.
Are you actually gonna do that? Like I'm like, this is gonna end up terrible for her, and obviously it does. But your character has been, more, I don't want to say like shy, but almost like a little shy-ish because she doesn't know anyone, obviously.
Right.
I was just happy for you to just be like, bam.
Stand up for yourself.
I
Yeah.
really was like
Yeah.
ruthless, but I kind of liked it.
yeah, she's just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
know?
Like
Right.
everyone else.
Like
Yeah.
everyone else, yeah, in their own
Prison
way.
bump
Absolutely.
situation.
Yeah, and I think what we're saying is it's sort of that Piper has to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel here, and she needed something to kind of make that happen and turn that corner.
Yeah.
Because she was just heading down this whole path, and we're like, really? Like, this is where we're going to go? And it was just
Right.
getting
Yeah.
darker and darker and darker with her character, and we see that as we go throughout the season. So it was great to have your character be able to come there and basically let her hit rock bottom.
Yeah. It's
Right.
But I felt so bad. Like I felt so bad.
But every week we talk about, Piper is so annoying because
Yeah.
she's doing all of these things. No, honestly, like when you're watching the show, it's like,
Yeah.
Piper, like you're so
smarter
selfish.
than that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, right, exactly. And we see it later, when she kind of hits that final
Yeah.
breaking
Exactly.
point. But then we finally feel bad for her because
Yeah.
she's
Exactly.
getting what she deserves. Not that
Yes.
she
Right.
deserves what happens
Well,
Right.
exactly, but she
Right.
definitely, something was definitely coming her way.
Well, she kept making the points of being like, I'm in prison, I'm thinking, I'm like, but you're not going to be there forever. So that's where it was kind of, it's one of those things where, you know, I know this is in episode 8, but when she's talking about, like, my parents didn't raise me to be this way,
Yeah.
it's like such a mindset that I'm sure people get in, like, because you just feel like you are where you are and you're going to be there forever. So she started doing these crazy things to become like this prison lord so that no one would mess with her. But obviously that is never going to really get you anywhere. But
Exactly.
so the panty business is done now. Just completely done, right?
It seems
We don't,
that
I
way.
mean,
We don't know.
yeah.
But, I mean, as far as, like,
at
what we
this
know
moment
right now.
Right.
in time,
It's
as
done.
far as being through episode 8,
Okay.
then
Yeah.
Because I thought
But it
they
may
like, still
turn
had
into
it
hard.
going.
It may turn into hard drugs with Maria's group, though. They're turning into something different. I think.
Right.
Well,
I
it
don't
is
know
hard
about-
drugs as of right now with them,
Right,
right?
right.
But I thought that Piper like still had her little group going, but I guess business is done for the moment. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. No, you're like, right?
Yes, please.
I think everyone abandoned her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we've seen, and something I want to bring up later, the correlation sort of with your character, but also even with Judy King's character too, about the sort of the no friends thing that I see a lot of similar lines
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think pretty much in that scene where the guards were doing the random checks with everyone, and you
Yeah.
had that great scene where my heart was like beating out of my chest because I'm like, oh my
that was
gosh, she's about to
intense.
get caught right now. I'm like, I guess that pretty much ends it when people think that you're just going to get randomly checked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was it like shooting that scene in particular? Because that was another big scene for your character.
Oh my gosh, when I got the script and it said she drops her pants, I was like, can we discuss this?
So do we have a stunt double or
Yeah.
is it someone else?
They
that's
gave
doing
me
it?
that option. They were so
really?
supportive. They're like, we want you to be comfortable. We'll give you
Wow.
all these different options. Tell us what you want to do. And they ended up giving me the shots that they were going to shoot. So I felt comfortable enough to just do it. And it was really good. I talked to Leah about it because she had a scene in maybe season 2 where she had some nudity and
Gotcha.
There's
things.
lots of that going
Yeah.
on in the show in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she kind of gave me a little bit of a pep talk and like how therapeutic it can be and how like freeing it can be doing it. And also like getting asked like, ooh, what are you? I get that a lot. And so
Yeah.
this was just a heightened way of me like experiencing it on camera, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, were those discussions going around about, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of discussions because this show is we talk about so politically relevant. And what are the kind of topics that you guys talk about amongst yourselves about the race card, the diversity, about specifically yours? Because you're in real life, I think, half Japanese. Right?
Yeah, so I'm actually Hapa, which was derogatory, but now it's not. It's like celebrated. So it's half Asian and half white is kind of my mix. You know, I think that it's pretty light on set. We don't like dive into these like deep topics, but I know Black Lives Matter, especially with what's going on right now. Our cast has been behind that movement and been really active. They had a float at Pride, so like there are things that the cast really supports, and ethnicity and really just being diverse is huge on this set.
I'm sure some of the actors who have to kind of don being like white lives matter and have to wear a Confederate flag tattoo, I'm sure they feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Representing
uncomfortable.
that.
And then you have to try and take the tattoos off before you hit the subway
right.
because
Oh,
then you've got a
no.
Confederate flag
Yeah,
on the back
exactly.
of your
Going out in
neck on the
public.
subway in
Yes.
New York where
Yeah,
there's like
exactly.
every
Shoot.
ethnicity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the girls, she's actually a huge supporter of Black Lives Matter. And so it was
Kind of difficult.
kind of difficult for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that watching it makes, and I feel like it would make everyone feel this way. It almost like makes you feel uncomfortable, but like in a good way, because it
does.
makes you be like, oh God, this stuff is like happening
Right.
and is so, I don't know. I was watching it and I'm like, oh, there's something like in me stirring because it's like jarring, but it's
Yeah.
also an important topic
Yeah.
to talk about.
Yeah.
It's hard because like these are things that we you see on TV and
Right.
we don't think it happens in your real life, but when we see it in this show and we have that realization that these are things that are actually happening in our world today, and that's the most devastating part.
Right, and you read it in the newspaper, but then it's sort of like it's behind the gates and nobody really knows what really goes on there. And I think what's great about the show is that the writing brings it to light, and they do it in such an entertaining way, but yet it's serious, but it's got that comedic edge, and it's brilliant. And bring all these characters in the way they intertwine everybody. It's just a fantastic, it's great. I mean, it's really, really incredible, and it's really important, but done in a really good way.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And this episode too just had so much other layers going on besides what was going on with your character and with Piper. We were talking about Lolly's backstory, which was probably one of my favorites yet.
Right, same.
It was just so well done, and it was so great to finally to be able to see her. But we also, we have the stuff going on with Judy King,
right,
and all of her craziness.
The puppet show.
Yeah. I mean, it's so like
so funny.
It's so Paula Dean.
Yeah, it was finally that Paula Dean reference that we were
that we were waiting for. Yes, because we already had the butter.
We are, right,
and the molten salt.
Right.
So we had that, but now we're really going into it. But also, I love her whole thing with Yoga Jones too, because that's been a funny storyline. Because Yoga Jones trying to be like doesn't want any stuff and isn't into material things, and all of a sudden she's
ordering.
She's really getting into this.
The
seltzer machine.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, I thought you asked for the seltzer machine. Like all these little things, and eating her eggs.
Yeah, I was only eating eggs because they were getting cold.
Yeah,
so, I was doing you a favor, really, if you ask me.
It's really funny to watch that, to see her kind of really enjoy some of these material things right now, and that was cracking me up. And just everything kind of going on with Judy, and then you had the girls with trying to get the picture and how they're going to do it. And
Tasty getting on this little power trip now that she has a watch and a phone.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I would too.
That's smart.
She continues to be my favorite. Yeah,
she's hilarious.
So
too much.
funny.
It's too much. And Cindy too. It's just
Cindy's great.
All of her little comments.
Exactly.
Are
The
hilarious.
whole thing about trying to get the picture just right and how they're going to do it, and it came out all blurry. And
But it's a smart tactic. I mean, if I had that power like Tasty had, I could make
absolutely.
money.
Yeah.
I mean, you do make a lot of money.
And the picture that they end up getting of her in the hallway chasing her, I cracked up. I took a screenshot of that because I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was great. I mean, again, the writing is just brilliant. You will take that, and then what you do in episode 8, which we'll get to, is just
a
so
quick
great.
question. The writing is so brilliant, but how much? I mean, these actors are so talented, though.
Of course.
They must go off the page sometimes, and then it just becomes a scene all the time.
Yeah, on my first day, Taryn did a whole TPing her new bunkmate little like off the page scene in the background, which was super fun. They didn't keep it, but yeah. So most of the actors come prepped and then just throw it out. They keep to the words pretty much,
Right.
But there's a lot of freedom.
Yeah,
on
That's
that set.
amazing.
That's why it's so genuine.
Exactly. It comes across very genuine. And you were saying about how you didn't get that scene until right before the big scene. Did they do that on purpose so you weren't have too much time to overanalyze that? So I was like, because it was such a big scene.
Yeah. I think for the first 4 episodes, I felt like I was like doing a really bad job on the show because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I found out they kind of like to keep you a little bit in the dark with things, because if it's things you're not going to know, why do you need to know it?
Right.
It'll alter how you do things.
Yeah.
So it's slightly improv-y on set.
I'm sure that's benefited you. I mean, for future projects, that's going to
Totally.
keep you a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, especially working with this cast, they're so talented. Like I said, they prep it and they throw it away.
Wow.
And to feel that freedom and actually get to play is so nice.
Yeah.
It's a great dream. I'm not just
I
thinking
know,
like,
it
oh
is
my
a
God.
dream. Like, it's a dream come true on this show, especially, so.
But God, I mean, the characters, again, they're just so great. You have Linda and Caputo in this episode too.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was just...
Well, we're finally seeing that Satan that we were
Yes.
wondering when we were going to see. Because we knew that she kind of has the bad intentions or the MCC intentions.
Yeah.
But this episode in particular, and then the next one as well, we see her kind of... You can see that she's taking advantage of Caputo. That
But Caputo still keeps falling for her.
Well, that's because it's Caputo.
It's
He's like,
He got the
Caputo.
gun. Like, he still
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
that
he
turned
likes
me on.
weird.
That's right.
That was a good choice, though.
Like, I thought he was going to go back in there and kick her out.
I know, I did too.
But, and then when he
was-
said that, I was just like, no.
It was the
It's
opposite.
They're meant
always-
for each
it's
other
always
in
that
a twisted
that
way.
Two sides
sided,
to
yeah,
him.
we like him, and then
we're
he
like,
does something where...
what is he doing?
Yeah.
I'm more
Why is he
so
doing
liking
that?
him right now, though.
Really?
Minus,
I agree, 'cause-
obviously, that was bad in the end of episode 8.
Right.
But I like how... Okay, so first of all, my prediction was wrong because I thought that Linda was going to steal his idea completely.
No, we both did because I kind of agreed with you. I thought
Yeah.
maybe she was going to try to take credit for it because she was the one that was going to say what was going to happen,
Right.
and somehow she was going to take credit.
Yeah.
Just took it and created a chain gang.
Yeah,
Exactly.
completely twisted it.
But I don't see how. So what they're doing now is all of these vocational classes.
Right.
Like-
and hello, finally some man candy on Orange Theory.
That's the only point you got from that whole thing.
Oh wow!
You're like all the rest of the girls.
Not that they got fired from their jobs or not being paid,
I was
and they just have to
getting
dig.
there. I was getting there. But that's what, like, they turned a job into not a job, but just a class instead. So are they just literally not going to have jobs anymore? And I'm like, shouldn't it be voluntary? Like, if it's a class?
Yeah.
I mean, well, shouldn't it be? I guess
Shouldn't
not.
a lot
You're
of
in
things be
prison.
Shouldn't a lot of things, I know.
Touche.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, she completely. By the way, I also love that scene when when they opened up and she was calling on the car and it said Linda from Purchasing.
Yes!
Made me think of Sterling because she's like Linda from Purchasing, and it actually said that
time we
on
talk about her.
his cell phone.
I know. I have to say the full title
Yes,
every single
so
time.
It was so great. But yeah, they completely turned it around from any of what his original plan was. Like completely, it was nothing that he had
So
originally planned.
that's where I say I still am liking him currently because you can see he's like genuinely upset about
Yeah.
this.
And
He's like,
fighting for
Right.
the prisoners.
He's like, this isn't what it was supposed to be at all. I think he understood that he needed to compromise a little with them, but then to have it completely changed, like,
Yeah.
that's not.
But in a way, you were sort of right in the sense that she took it
Yeah.
and changed it.
Right,
Like
and-
she kind of took ownership of it and instead of taking credit for his stuff, she took it over and made it the way she wanted it to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I had when she sang, "This is how we do,
Yeah.
what we do." I had that stuck in my head all day today, and I was just like, "This is how we do." Oh no, I'm Linda from Purchasing.
You're so alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Another thing that I noticed this episode was Nikki.
Well, yeah.
And I felt kind of bad for Brett. I'm not sure if this is going to progress. But Brett was so excited that she's back.
Right.
This
That's
is
like her.
Nikki. Like
yeah, it's like her kid.
her everything. Exactly.
Yeah.
Her kid. She was baking a cake. She had a party.
She
Yeah.
made this great party for her,
But she-
and we got to have her back, and we already see her going
Nikki
back into
her old ways and not being
Exactly.
so receptive either towards Brett either. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But so far, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah, she put so much into making
and Brett's
this-
noticing now too.
Yeah, and she sees her go and take a shower pooper out in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angie.
Yeah.
Shower.
That's what she is. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Mystery solved.
Yeah,
She
mystery
solved it in, like,
solved.
2 minutes.
Yeah. That was funny.
I'm just happy to have her back because I've missed her presence so much
Yeah.
on the show. And even, let's just like do away with the drugs with her character, but just having her back and her comedic relief and
Yes.
everything.
Right.
I love that. Obviously not loving the drug part.
Right.
But
it was really nice to see how she interacts with Piper too, because we're used to seeing so many people be so mean to Piper, and
Yeah.
which I mean I would be too, because
Right.
she annoys me to no
Yeah.
end. But it is kind of nice to see. It is kind of nice to see Nikki be like, well, telling her it is sometimes people can only see what it looks like, and
Yes.
invites her to the party and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So it's kind of nice to see someone
It
who
is.
knows the old Piper,
Right.
versus what we've seen her become.
And also she was away for all these
Right.
I was gonna say episodes, but if you're thinking real life or whatever, she's been away, so she hasn't seen Piper kind of make this turn and isolate herself in this way and not have any friends. So
Right.
she's coming back in sort of being left off from where it was before when she was there last. So I think also that's why she's also doesn't realize what Piper's been up to.
Yeah.
she's also been the character that's always very accepting of everyone, kind of no
Right.
matter what. So she's, it's good to see her be like, oh, come to the party. Like, I thought that
Yeah.
was sweet.
Yeah.
Even though,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was weird to me that they didn't tell her, but then I'm like, I guess not. That she's really not friends with anyone anymore. Like,
Yeah.
you
Right.
are her friend. Well, you were her friend.
Yeah.
How is it, by the way,
Yeah.
working with Taylor Schilling? I mean, she's most of your scene partners, and I don't really see you interacting with that many other cast members besides her. It feels
Yeah,
like,
I didn't meet like most of the cast until like episode
7 when you did the deed, right?
well like 13 almost.
right,
Yeah, like towards
the
the end. It
end.
wasn't. Yeah. So I worked with Taylor the most. The first day that I met her, she was so sweet. She's like, "Oh, we're so excited to have you," and I was like, "I'm freaking excited to be here. I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah, she's great. Like she's super supportive. I feel like I don't have to do anything when I'm doing scenes with her. Just talk to her. I gave her my mom's chicken teriyaki recipe. Really? She was trying to make a dinner for someone.
Can we get that?
Yeah.
Chicken teriyaki recipe.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's a lot of flipping chicken. Okay. It's a lot of work.
So your mom was like the Judy King, man. Of
Right.
being your-
Yeah. Except for maybe less racist. Maybe.
Right, less racist. And also, I'm still sticking by this. I find Judy King a fake. I don't think, and I've said this in previous, that she really doesn't know how to cook.
No.
And we find that out later, but that's what I'm going, and I'm sticking to that.
yeah, you're pretty adamant on that. I would
I
stick
am.
to it. Yeah.
I'll jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, there you
Alright.
go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So she seconds it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, going back to the episode, we also have Alita finishing up, realizing that she's leaving. What is she going to do? She has this great idea, basically because of Judy King just sort of trying to get her out and trying to change the subject. Like, oh my gosh, I love your nails. And
That's a
next
great
thing,
idea.
Yeah.
it made her think in her head, oh my gosh, yeah, maybe this is something I can do for a legit business. She kind of gave up on the GED thing. It was going to be too difficult for her.
Yeah.
So,
But this is something she's passionate about.
Right.
She's good
She's
at.
good at.
Yeah.
She's getting really down on herself about not having developed any
Exactly.
skills or anything like that. So the fact that she kind of had this hidden talent.
yeah, that was kind of there all along. And
yeah.
it was interesting the fact that Judy had to bring it up through an offhanded compliment that made her think about it.
Judy actually does do that with a lot of characters. I'm forgetting his name, which is bad. The guy, the main
Loose
guy.
check?
Police check?
Is
Or
that him?
Healy.
No, not Healy.
Caputo.
The one who screwed over Nikki. The one who
no,
screwed
Loose
over
Check.
Nikki. Yeah,
Loose
Loose check, yeah.
She even kind of brings a little bit of something out of him as well, and listens to his problems, no matter how much of a fake she is.
Yeah, but it's a
Well,
way,
she do a lot with him.
Yeah, she
but it's a way of
and
deflecting.
exchange for sex, of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
There is
different.
that. There
But
is
there's that deflecting though. It's like take the attention off of her when she's doing something bad, and let
right.
me put it back on by
Totally.
giving someone a compliment to kind of change the subject there.
Yeah.
So again, we're kind of seeing it's not all from a good side, or she's being genuine or generous or anything.
Yeah.
It's basically because she's trying to deflect from her own.
Yeah, she doesn't mean
issues.
to help them, but somehow it does.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
like
But
that,
that's what was great about that is it made her think like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could do nails, and maybe I'll just open up my own salon. And she really had these big dreams. And
Right.
it was great to see her have that moment.
Right.
I think so
Because
too.
Alita really needed that, because she had kind of hit rock bottom. She was really afraid of leaving prison. And again, what Sabrina about the show was talking about recidivism and how a lot of people end up leaving prison and having nowhere to go. And prison actually provides stability. They know where they're getting their next meal. They know they have structure. They have other people in there, and they go out there and into the real world, and it is very difficult. People won't hire people. They're scared of hiring felons, or they don't trust them, or whatever the case may be. So it was a really genuine moment to have that experience, and so it was great to kind of see her have that happy moment too.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that was great, and what else do we have in this episode before we move on? Because I know we've
The branding.
move on.
Yeah.
Well,
I
no,
guess
I mean
we
before
kinda
we get
talked
to
about
that,
it.
no,
Yeah.
we're not. I'm saving that for last. but-
Just briefly, Nikki did mention to Sister Ingle and was it Gloria? Yeah, about what happened to Sophia. Well, that she saw
Yes.
what her
Which, by the way, everybody
cell
was
looked
right.
like.
I was completely off. I kept thinking it was poop. I kept thinking it was poop because we had that whole episode. Remember when the blood from the episode? I just somehow was looking on the tiny screen and I had poop in my head from the whole
shower paper.
shower pooper scene, and I was way off. And everybody did call me out. I was an idiot. I admit it.
We still don't know what for sure happened, but I'm going to go with blood.
That's sort of what she basically said that. So
Yeah,
right.
we just don't know what happened and how. Was it just on that magazine, on the staples, on the paper, like what was going on? So we don't know yet exactly.
But they make the decision that they should tell Crystal that now she's injured, and
Exactly.
and that's important for the next episode.
That was a very important scene, and it was very important, and we still don't know
Right,
what has
right,
happened to
exactly.
her to this point. So, Yes, but is there anything else? I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything because I know we had some stuff with Lolly.
Yeah, there was just a lot of
Morello
with Lolly. I want to just quickly on Lolly. One of the most like eye-opening parts for me this episode with her was every scene we kind of see that she's aware of these voices. She knows they're not real, which is kind of what I always wondered because just and for mental health illness in general, because she's shaking them out of her head. She tells Healy, I know they're not there, but that doesn't mean they don't have anything to say.
Right.
And so it's kind of like she realizes it. She's admitting she's kind of has these voices in her head.
Right.
They're not real. So, but mostly in episodes before, we've seen her genuinely believe they're real, or at least seem like she does.
Yeah.
But,
and although Healy's advice was a little bit cliched, I mean, I think it speaks to a lot. He just literally says everyone wants to go back in time.
Right.
Everybody
the time
wants to-
machine.
The time machine, yeah.
And the time machine, when you're sitting in the
Right.
box, but it's like, really it is about
Which
living
that
in
was
the
a
now.
great scene, by the
It
way,
was a
with
great
them.
scene.
And because it also was him kind of dealing with what he's been going through with his mom and things like that. He wishes he could go back. And so that was a really great scene that the two of them shared there.
They helped
Right.
each other more
did.
than he
They
helped her.
did.
It was definitely equal.
Yeah.
And her backstory just brought up a lot of issues that are still relevant, like the police interacting with her
Right.
and the homelessness and all of
Right,
that.
and
So
mental health,
It was
and,
just
and
right.
health.
why some people go to prison that shouldn't be. They need treatment instead, and her case is basically a perfect case for that. And it was funny when she had that scene with Healy, and she ticks off all the reasons that she was arrested for, because I said, oh, not theft wasn't one of them, but nudity and whatever.
She's like, what's the one they arrest you? Yeah, the one they arrest you for if you haven't really done anything, but they need to
You
arrest
wouldn't know if like her character is actually based off somebody that maybe Genji knew, or
No, I have
you have no idea, because you don't know how many of these characters actually might be based on a real true person. Besides, obviously Piper's character and
Right.
Alex's character, but
it's
you
real
wouldn't know,
people
right?
that deal with this all the time, and
because I wonder
in a
how
sense-
these influences come
right,
about,
they
like
get
how
all
the
these
writer
specific-
thinks of these people. Maybe she knows, or
They're
Exactly.
genius.
They are.
I mean,
they are.
yeah.
But it brings up a really good point again on mental
Yeah.
health and that whole panhandling scene. But it was just, it was beautiful. It was just in the sense of just seeing her go through her day. I thought that was just a brilliant scene.
And she seemed
I
so
know.
happy, and
Yeah.
she was
She
able
was
to
doing
control,
well.
and she was able to control the voices
Yeah.
herself.
and interact with everybody throughout as she's going down the cart with everything in
They
town
all
and
knew
Seattle
her.
there. It was great.
Yeah.
I
it was
loved
great.
that scene. I thought that was so well done.
She's like, oh, you have green spaghetti. What will they think
Yeah.
of?
Right? I love that line.
Hilarious.
That
It was
was
just
hilarious.
really, it was really cute and really great.
Her
and then-
delivery is just so natural. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, and just that, it was great. It was like being in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something. Just going down and everyone's doing their thing. I loved it. So, just overall, just a great episode. And of course, we get to the big moment that we were waiting for. The very end, we save like that intense moment at the end.
Yes.
of the episode.
Exhausting, I'm sure.
Didn't know what was going to
I
happen
didn't
when you
either.
I didn't
pulled her
either.
out of the party. And, well, not you, but your character, of course. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if you were going to try to make up with her or if you were going
Yeah.
to try to... Certainly didn't see what happened.
I knew
there was going to be
We knew
something
it was gonna be
bad.
bad.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be
Yes.
bad. But I didn't know it was going to be that
No,
bad.
I didn't know
I
what
feel
was
like
going to happen.
that's what my character thought. She knew
Right.
something
Right.
bad was
Yeah.
going to happen,
But
but
she
she needed
didn't
to
know.
kind of sacrifice.
Right.
I was going to
Piper for
ask, do you
it,
think
but-
if you knew that what was going to happen was going to happen when you fed her to the wolves?
I don't know. I don't think my character knew it was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
And I think if she did know, I don't think she would have done it.
Right.
I mean, she would have thought hard and it
Right.
maybe been on the border of it,
Yeah.
but maybe she's smarter than that and would have found another way.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Because
Yeah.
you know
But-
your character wanted to have some revenge on Piper, but I don't think to that extreme at all.
No,
No.
no. And I don't think it was so much revenge, more just like, she jumped one of the girls, the panty
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah.
And so she knows, like, she has
Survival.
no
Yeah,
other friends.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you just see Maria and how powerful she's become.
Yeah.
And Maria's just made a
Yes.
complete
Ruthless.
switch.
She
Yeah.
has, like, so powerful. And like you're saying, we knew something was going to happen, but what? We were just not expecting that. But it was so well done again, too. It was just like, yeah, let's go out and talk.
Yeah.
And you're thinking,
I kept thinking the whole time, I'm like, you have to join someone else.
Yeah.
Because of the line where you said, but I jumped one of those girls.
Yeah.
So whenever you pulled her out, I'm like, they're going to be waiting on the other
Right.
side.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
When they took her into the kitchen, and then so you see like the flames coming up through the stove, I'm like, okay, they can't murder her.
Right.
But I'm like, I thought they were going to put her face
Yeah.
to the flames.
I
I don't know
couldn't.
why, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But it's like I get that part of you have to do something to survive, and she at this point has like she didn't even necessarily care that you almost got caught wearing pants whenever it was the random check. And then she literally says like, I'm rooting for you, but there's nothing I can do for you. Like so your character at that point had to do something. But freaking Maria is just crazy, and I mean they brand her with a Nazi symbol.
Yeah.
It was just intense, and seeing like the little fire poker, and then
that whole scene was just so intense.
It got dark so
really
fast.
Did.
Yeah.
It was
because we're in the party and they're just having fun, and
it showed a parallel.
Gina finally gets the music to work so they can't hear Piper screaming.
Oh, we got to see Norma again too.
Yeah,
I know. I was like wondering about her.
Have we not? I mean, it was just me. Like she hasn't been around these past any of the episodes
and
of the
a
season.
lot more Boo too,
which was great. Yes, because we were talking about that last week, how we missed having her on, and there was a lot more of her. But it was great to see Norma again, and they're just having this party, and that was that dichotomy, but also kind of the sound of the party totally masked what was going on in the kitchen, so they could get away with this with nobody really realizing.
I was thinking the whole time that someone was going to walk in. I'm like, someone's going to catch them. Are they going to do this to her? But then I'm like, something bad has happened to so many other characters. They're gonna let it happen.
Oh yeah. No, they set this up.
She has gotten off with a lot. Like she's gotten a lot of opportunities. She had furlough for crying out loud.
Yeah, so, we knew something had to happen.
We knew that, and when that happened with your character, we knew that it had to be seen to completion there. So I was just, but it was so well done.
I'm like, could she get laser removal when she gets out of?
I was thinking that was literally my first thought is what she's gonna do when she's out. Like she's just gonna have to wear long sleeves all the time. Like
I know
these are.
And I think that's why I kept thinking earlier, like, okay, when is she gonna realize that this is just a portion of her life? Because like now she has a permanent something on her arm that she's gonna have to explain for years and years and years. When I think she was only. 3 years in prison, I think is what she was. I can't remember.
Right.
But,
she got the extra 36 months or something at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and that's why I'm like, you have to realize, like, this is such a small portion, and I think she's learning that, but now she has the scar to remember it by.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a memorable moment with your character. We've just been waiting for that, and it was just so well executed.
Yeah.
So bravo.
Yeah.
I think Taylor did such a great job too.
Absolutely. Well, that whole group and that whole kitchen scene again was just like we were saying was so intense and so dark as you had that balance of the party and everything. I mean, it was just crazy. Is anyone commenting? Anyone spoiling anything?
It's frozen at the moment. It's frozen on my face going like this. But I'm waiting for some questions to come through for you.
All right, cool. So let's get on to episode 8 because I know we're running out of time. And episode 8, which is a good thing, we can just roll right into it here. What are your initial thoughts, everyone, of episode 8?
I'm like, I know they can't really tell on people for doing things to them because then it gets worse. But I'm like, you have a bloody thing on your arm when they're outside working. I'm like, how is no one asking her about this?
Yeah.
I mean, she had like some kind of bandage, so clearly she went to a doctor, or maybe someone just had it, but I was surprised that no one.
I thought so at first, but I think everyone there is like kind of scratched up and beaten up, so it's like part of the norm. Plus, no one really pays attention to Piper anymore.
Yeah, no one likes her right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, 8 for me was a lot of Nikki stuff.
It was. There was a lot that was going on with Nikki, and we kind of open with
we find out that she's the one who's a thief.
Right. I mean, we don't know at first, and we're wondering when we first open. We're like, what is going on? You know what? Yeah. Who would be stealing like
mirror
silly things that you would think really like a mirror like.
But they're actually really important to her. Like she knows
and Nikki should know that. Like Nikki knows that for sure, which is the crazy part because obviously it's like her prison mom and all this stuff, and she's stealing and
she's betraying from her. Yeah.
And she said she got the drugs that they were smoking in the garden. Yeah. From trading lipstick with Angie, and then you see Angie making out with that dude with lipstick
all over her face.
Because in my head, when I saw that scene with Angie, I was like, I never remember her wearing lipstick.
That's right. I thought you saw the scene first.
Then Nikki said that line, I was like, okay, that makes way more sense.
I kept wondering how she was making out with him though, because I know that's how they do their drug exchange, like because she has the bags in her, or he has it in his mouth and puts it in hers. But I'm like, they don't even let you touch each other. And now you're making out.
Yeah, that was weird.
But these guards though, like they're so dumb and they don't really do anything they're supposed to do.
They are, but they also the way it was so tight you couldn't really see anything going around behind them too. So they were, who knows where they exactly were and everything. But you're right. I mean, I thought the same thing too. I was like, how is she getting away with this? When, I mean, that
Apparently
seems
they do it every week.
She's
like
one of the harmless
visitation.
ones, I guess.
Yeah.
If Lorna and Vinny can't do it, well, how can they do it? Lorna and Vinny is verbally assaulting, actually, they are pretty assaulting.
Yeah.
It's like sexual assault.
Yeah, that was so great. That was such.
And then
great
also
scene.
Piper talks to her brother too in the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna
which
say
I really felt for her. She was missing her brother so much.
Well,
and-
she again has sort of been hitting rock bottom after the end of episode 7,
Yeah.
and she has nobody else in the prison, and it's the first time we've really had her interact with him this whole season
know.
too.
Yeah.
So that was nice to have
And
a phone call.
surprisingly, she didn't talk about herself the whole time because
Right.
obviously she called.
Yes.
Obviously,
It's
she
all
called to
about-
get tell her hey, I've been branded with a swastika,
Mm-hmm.
but instead he tells her some good news, and she doesn't want to take away from his moment. And I was like, is it Pillow Piper? Is this you? I'm a little concerned.
We're seeing like the season 1 Piper that I really liked, and well, except a little less selfish. You didn't really like her in season 1.
I thought she's always been pretty selfish.
Yeah.
She has always been
always
pretty
has
selfish.
been.
but
now we really know how you feel.
yeah.
No, she always has been.
At least then she kind of seemed to like have a heart, and it's seemed like she hasn't really. But now, I mean, but of course it takes her getting branded with a swastika to do that.
Yeah, it takes her hitting
Yeah.
the very
But
rock
rock
bottom there. Like
bottom.
nobody liking her anymore. Everyone's turned their back on her. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Yeah.
Boo. Like every single person that she's had that was a friend has basically turned their back.
But it's done that for so many other people. Like
Right.
Red, remember when she
Yeah.
went through all the crazy stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the people when they get into this powerful thing, they have to be knocked down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That scene with Voss and Nikki and Piper in the garden was
cornfield?
just that was in the cornfield or whatever.
That could be the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of something.
That was
Yeah.
that was just an amazing scene on all
I loved
parts.
it.
It
Yeah.
was it was interesting. I watched it and I thought, oh my god, she's gonna find the body, because she was when she first walks up, when Piper walks up and she's getting the water or whatever, I'm like, oh, she's gonna come across the body or part or something. So I knew something was gonna happen there, and obviously they tell her when they're in their
Yeah.
It was
crazy,
just so raw
cracked
and-
out state.
Yeah.
and vulnerable and open to each
Mm-hmm.
other. I mean, finally, I think they all needed this. You know,
Yeah.
they all needed to just finally
You're
let
like, they all
And
need to
it-
smoke some
even
crack.
Even though it
Good high as
took
can be.
right.
They really needed it.
I was gonna say, even though it took her smoking crack
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a human
Crack
moment.
up Angie's butt, you know, like
Gross.
Say it.
So gross. But then Voss tells her secret too.
Yeah.
So that whole scene was just
where everybody was vulnerable.
yeah. And Nikki
Yeah.
was just like, wait, what?
She's like,
I was
what
just
did I
trying to have a good
enter
time.
into?
Yeah.
I thought we've been worried about Voss ending up telling Piper, because I'm like, Piper's going to use it against her in some way. But in this instance, I don't think that she will. I mean, she would have to like go crazy again to do
Right.
that. But so I was like, I was okay with her telling her.
No, she
Right.
I mean, she at this point in episode 8, again, we haven't gone any further. She
Yeah.
felt really horrible for what Alex was going through, and she talks about it with Red a little bit, but she was feeling absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did think that was a great scene, and yes, the crack had to be the catalyst, so to speak, to have that happen.
Yeah.
But it was so well done, and you see Nikki struggling, and Nikki just wants to hook up with everybody because she's been in Max for so long.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was just really funny. She's trying to hook up with
Some
Morello.
people are actually supporting Lorna and Nikki right now. I think I saw a
Yeah.
comment. They were like,
Yeah.
"Well, I miss Lorna and
I
Nikki together."
kind of am.
Well,
Yeah, I think
she was trying so hard, and it was so funny with Lorna trying to be all traditional. And
I
then
know.
Nikki's like, "Oh, did you even hyphenate your name? You went right for the married name?" And she's like, "I can't do anything. I can't cheat. I can't."
But all it
Nikki-
does is make her think that he's cheating on her,
I
and then she
know.
goes all
Yeah.
crazy again.
Yeah, she's gonna go all crazy again like she
and
did
gets
before.
obsessive, and
Yeah.
then her sister is like, "Wait a second."
Yeah,
This
but
is not good.
But I think if someone isn't contacting her, especially her husband,
Right.
she has a right to
Weeks.
spy. I would spy.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
If I was
Yeah.
in prison too, I would
right.
know.
I think you
I would
would
go
be
crazy.
especially.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't get married. So there's
Right.
that.
That's
but
a whole other thing that we still have to figure out with Vinny, because there's definitely something there. But yeah, she's already, I don't want to say that crazy, but she's already obsessive and has that personality. So you end up taking that in, and that just.
I would
might as well.
100% have my sister do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But not
For
in the
sure.
creepy way that
No,
she
but
did it
of
with her
course.
other.
no.
Right.
Right. It's, yes.
But
Like actually go to the house and just like knock on the door.
She's
and
changed a little bit in the sense
Yeah.
of where she's like, no, not like that, because her sister
Right.
quickly
Yeah.
reminds her.
Right.
I mean, who hasn't stalked someone every now
Of
and
course,
then?
no, of course. I mean,
I'm the only one? No. But
yeah, you're the only one.
whenever she was going after Voss in outside, I thought she was talking about hooking up there. I didn't think drugs. I thought
She
they were
was.
like
I did
start
too.
in the
Well,
field.
Oh, yeah.
She was at first.
She was
and then
at
she was
first.
like, since you're denying it, let's just go
Right.
get high.
Yeah.
But see, but when she said, "Don't you want to just like do something to make yourself forget?" I thought she was still talking about that. So whenever like Piper hears them playing around in the garden or whatever it was, I thought they were going to be hooking up. I didn't think that they were going to be smoking crack. That was just me though.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I know it was like
Hard to
pause,
say.
awkward pause there. No, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Because the way she was acting, you kept thinking she was trying to hook up, and she was, clearly. But yes, that was a totally different turn. And just like us in the audience, I think we were all surprised, just like their characters were when Piper decided to partake.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I was like, really?
Yeah.
She's gonna do that now? Like, really? But it makes sense because she basically gotten to that point of like she just didn't care anymore at this point. She's like, you know, what do I have to lose?
Right.
I have nothing.
The part where she said she realized she was just trying to win prison,
Mm-hmm.
that was, I was like, yes, you have been this whole time.
Right.
And
It's
that's-
that vulnerable that she thought she had to be a particular way. She had to behave a certain way to be able to make it in prison, and that really wasn't her. And we all knew that all along. We're like, okay, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah.
The whole gangsta with an A thing from the very beginning. Like, this is so out of control.
That line.
You know? Yeah. So.
One of the
That
best
line's
lines.
hilarious.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
You'll always remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it was
And I
good
like
to have that.
I like how she also said, like, I went too far. I always go too far.
Right.
And I
Remember
thought
when
that was
Voss
just
said
so
that to her
relatable.
last season?
Yeah.
I'm like, caught up with you, girl.
Yeah, full
Yeah.
circle.
About time. Only took 4 seasons.
Right?
Figure it out.
You don't like her.
Right?
But she's
Hey,
owning
someone's
it
gotta
now.
have that opinion. You know?
Yeah.
I was surprised that Voss didn't explain a little more when she's like, he's underneath us. Well, part of him is. I'm like, okay, so tell them that you didn't chop him. But then again, she can't implicate everybody else.
Right. Of
Yeah.
course.
But I'm sure that's one of those things we won't see because, like, when Red walks up to Piper later, she already knew that Piper knew. So
Secret.
how many people? We have Piper, Voss, Nikki,
Lolly.
Lolly,
Lolly,
Red,
Frida.
Frida.
Mhm.
6 people know now.
Minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
actually
good.
getting
That is
up
not
there.
good.
Not for a secret like that.
But also when Red comes up and Piper is upset about Alex and not about her arm still,
Right.
I was like, thank you.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
It's the
saying.
same
That
thing
was-
with her brother when she
Yeah.
didn't bring it up, and then
Yeah.
now she's more concerned with Alex. She's
Yeah.
finally, thinking of other people.
Yeah, in a weird
first.
way, that branding
Dare I
sort
say
of.
that's a compliment?
No,
Dare
I was
I
gonna
say?
say.
Am
Well, no,
I
I was saying
complimenting
like
Piper?
that branding almost had like a reset for her. It was
Yeah,
in a
right.
weird way, in a way that it was like, oh my god, she completely now sort of had this turnaround, and we'll see if
You
that.
have to be kicked down to get back up.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll see
Very good
if
point.
she-
It's a very good
True
point.
that.
And she got kicked to the lowest
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
lows.
Of the low.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you were saying, with this whole construction scene with the hot
The hot
McDonald.
McDonald.
Love him.
Yeah.
But that was a great scene. Yes, I'm wondering if Whispers has completely gone. It sounded like it, and it was interesting. Maybe because the guy distracted them, but it seemed like nobody really cared the fact they were losing this $1 an hour job, and now they're being forced to do this, and then they're doing basically manual labor while the backhoe was not working.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
Which
that
it was
which it
the
was.
entire
That
time.
was
Boo was
so
just trying to
funny.
do busy work, make it
Yeah,
so she
that
didn't have
was
to dig.
so funny.
I would not be
But
okay with that.
That would be but that would be me. I would have no. I would be like, I don't know how to make this thing work. I'll pretend, but you know,
Because I can just sit in the seat
sit in
all
the
day long.
sit in the shade. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they didn't really have the chance to object. Like, it's not like they can be like, no, I'm not doing this. They did the complaining that
Yeah.
they could, and that was it.
Yeah. So, again, like you said, there's not much you can do. There's only a certain amount you can complain when you're in prison. You're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Random thing, there was a lot of Jimmy Carter references in these
So
episodes.
many.
It's like, wow.
And Hitler.
And Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hitler for
I
sure.
mean,
I mean,
That makes
obviously
sense,
Hitler,
right,
but
in a
no
way.
one knew that she had it branded on her arm.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But in other places,
But that was funny because even your character, that was great too.
Oh my
They're like,
gosh.
what would you do with the time machine with
Yeah.
Hitler? And
I'd be a good maternal figure
yes,
for her.
exactly.
Would you?
That's why I think you would have done something if you would have known how bad it would have been.
Yeah.
You would have
Yeah.
done something else because
Yeah.
that was
It
I would
was.
go back and
Yeah.
like raise him right.
I'd raise him
And
right
that's-
and bring out his artistic side and
Yeah.
make sure he really felt loved.
And also in the bunk when she's crying in her bed and you say, "Are you okay?" Like
Yeah.
if you
Yes.
really intentionally meant to hurt her that badly, you wouldn't have asked.
I just hope we
Yeah.
really get to see your character's backstory.
I was just
Me
gonna
too.
say.
Really
I was just
do.
gonna say.
Because I want to know.
We want to know.
What do you
Wanna
think
know.
it is?
We all want to know. We
Do
all
you
want to
think
know.
we
Wait,
have
so
any
you know or
idea?
don't know? I don't.
Oh no one knows anything.
Nobody knows.
It kind of like
It doesn't
gets
come
sprung
up.
on you. Yeah.
Okay.
You
Do
have
you have
probably
any
like a
guesses
week
or
out.
Yeah, if
wants?
you had
Like, what
to
would you
imagine.
want your?
I mean, I go crazy with like thinking things of
Yeah.
like why she's in prison,
I'm
all the way
sure.
from like, her family was Mormon, and so to escape, she like did something bad to save her family, but it was for the good, or like animal violence. Like, there's crazy things in my head. Yeah,
wow.
like she's fighting people that are mean to dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you
I
want to
like-
be like the good one. You
Yeah,
think.
I think she's good.
Yeah.
She just gets caught up in fighting the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
She does
It
bad
is.
things for a good purpose.
good
Right.
purpose,
She's
right.
like Robin
Okay.
Hood.
Yeah.
Okay. There you
Of
go.
violence, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with it.
Watch
Yeah.
us be a ruthless criminal.
I would love it. That would be so much
Cool,
fun.
like some really crazy.
You really get in your dark side for
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
I
There's this
love
whole dark side, and you come across totally different. But I'm curious, so they don't really consult, I guess, the actors to say this is what we're thinking, and people could throw in stuff. It's like this is what you're doing, and this is your backstory, and yeah, just be curious because you could just go off on the whole crazy tangent, and they're like, okay, let's bring it back in. But
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Like Emma, when they told her that she was Amish and she had to
Yeah.
speak the language
Yes.
and everything, she got like a week's notice.
Okay.
Like, oh, okay. I mean, she did amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
They
did.
just
Oh, God,
they
that was
hire
great, too.
amazing people
Yep.
and just throw crazy things at you, which is fun.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes.
You know who else I love this episode is, I can't remember her name, but the Red's bunkmate who sleeps above her, the snorer.
Oh, the snorer.
She
Yeah,
was
poor
hilarious to
thing.
me.
She's
this episode.
so
She
funny.
was like, I didn't fall asleep before I got a shower. And then she was like, why would I want to look at myself in a mirror?
I know, right?
You were, like, she was cracking me up.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah, I
episode.
feel bad for her.
I-
Snoring.
yeah,
She can't
yeah.
control it, but it is annoying.
I hate snorers.
And then when, even at the construction thing, when the girl next to her yelled, she was like, sorry, my ears were too close to your mouth.
Yes.
I just saw her whole
Yes, she
Scenes
did have
this
some
episode
good
were
scenes in
hilarious.
this episode.
That construction site was nuts. Like, we were filthy by the time we ended shooting. It was like a 12-hour day in the
Oh,
sun
God,
digging,
yeah.
which, like, people do it for real life,
I
and
don't
we were
know.
just pretending.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not that serious, but, like, all we had was, like, toweling down before leaving. And I have a picture of the towel. I should post it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we- yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like the one like from Forrest Gump, and it's like Jesus.
Yes.
You know, you take it off.
Yeah.
It's like that whole.
Oh, my goodness. So gross. So sweaty.
It's incredible. I was just thinking, I'm moving to a new place and they're building it, and I'm thinking all the people every day out in the heat. You know, a couple weeks ago it was over 100 degrees out here, and I'm like, how do these people do it every day? Because I was thinking about that scene, and they're talking about the manual labor. I'm like, how do they do it every day? And there are people out there that are doing that day in and day out.
I have no idea. They are amazing, strong
are.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to like go to the gym or do Bikram or
No,
anything. They're
personally.
just like doing it.
Yeah, they're hardcore, and I have a lot of credit for people that can do
Yeah.
that for sure. Because I just looked at that and I was already tired watching from my air conditioning, watching it on TV. You know,
I am
so.
the worst digger, though. I found out like that's not a skill that I have. Can't put that on my resume.
Take it off your resume now.
Gotta take it off now.
Cannot dig ditches.
Like I threw myself at the shovel and was like, "Is that how you do it?" It was horrible. I knocked
Yeah.
over a wheelbarrow with all the dirt into the ditch that they
no.
had just dug.
Oh, jeez.
I got fired.
Yikes. Yikes.
Well, I know we have to get to wrapping up. Are there any other things? I know obviously that scene with Caputo and Linda and the
gun.
gun.
They got
Yeah.
the Judy King picture.
The
Judy
Judy
King
King,
picture.
that was
Also
crazy.
picture.
Amazing.
Also, Coates
And Cindy.
apologized to
Oh,
Penn
yeah.
Kentucky.
And Coates apologizing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
Which is-
genuine.
I think
Yeah, but he
was
also
always-
raped her. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I know.
But-
It's like
but
I
I'm
know.
glad he apologized.
But it was always my prediction
But
that
does
she's
that
going
make
to
it
end
any
up
better?
warming up
Like,
to
no.
him.
Yeah,
I
you
know
know what I
that's
mean?
awful, but I think she's going to end up warming up to him and might figure
I think
it
so
out.
too. I agree
Yeah.
with you on that one.
Yeah.
You know, we had the whole thing again with the picture, which was hilarious. And,
Yeah,
and
and Cindy, her line at the end of that
Yes.
cracked me up when she was like, "My mama's
Mama's
gonna see me
kiss
kiss
you."
that woman."
That
was hilarious.
That was really
That was
funny.
so good because the whole time she refers back to how her mom's gonna view her with these different
Yes.
pictures.
Yeah.
It's like, do your mom know you're in prison? Like, and that's what she's gonna be concerned about versus like you being in prison.
It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I wanted to talk to you more about your whole backstories. I mean, as an actor, and some of the roles you play, but we're just like we're so out of time.
That just means you'll have to come back again so we can talk about it.
Okay.
Is there
Tell us like
anything?
one thing. Or go,
I was gonna say, is there anything that we should be looking out for you for in the near future? What do you have going on?
Things that I can't really talk
Yeah,
about.
right?
So,
All right.
like, I know. It's funny you can't talk about stuff now
I know,
because
right?
social
I
media is so
Exactly.
crazy.
Right.
So you have to like. Zzz.
Yeah.
Is there like one scene that you've shot that you just like you couldn't stop laughing? You guys were just like cracking up. Or one really
yes.
memorable thing that you could tell us.
We had to do the stunt where I tackle her and take the underwear,
Yeah.
which like I have hand tattoos on, and so they were rubbing off as I was trying to grab in her shirt and then tackle her, but hit her the right way and not get hurt. And she is so funny, Rosal, who plays Ouija.
Yeah.
She and I laugh so hard. She almost peed a couple times. It was super fun working with her.
I'm sure
I
there's so
love
many
that
memories
scene.
you're gonna like just I don't know
Yeah.
have in your forever.
Yes.
Your lifetime.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. And speaking of social media, where can people find you so they can stay up to date when you can reveal these things?
Jojo Purdy on the
Okay.
Twitter, the Insta, the things, the thingy things.
All
All
things.
social
All
media.
things.
Love it. And where can they find you, lovely ladies?
Y'all
from
can
now
find
on?
me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me at Sterling Cates.
You can follow me on Twitter at Kanika Lal and Instagram at You Can Have It Lol.
And you can find me on Twitter at sman80, that's sman80. And before I go, there's a great musical right now, a parody of Orange is the New Black. If you're in the LA area, it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. It's the Whitefire Theater
Oh, I
in
know
Sherman
that.
Oaks.
Cool.
In Friday and Saturday nights through the rest of July and into August. It's a lot of fun. So definitely check it
Cool.
out if
Nice.
you're around. And until next week, same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.